Bob is, from what I understand, he is very much a type A person. Maybe I would even say that he's a type AAA person. He's
that means a workaholic.
He's a workaholic. He's larger than life. He's got a huge heart. He's enthusiastic. He's curious. And he's very loud. You should hear him in a restaurant. The whole restaurant can hear him talk. So he's a typical type A person. And as you know, type A people usually do not last all that long. They
could croak at any moment.
Yeah, there's some disadvantages to being type A. So, the Dalai Lama one time was in a conversation with a psychologist. And this psychologist, Larry, happened to do quite a lot of study.
Yes, Larry Sherhausen, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, Larry Sherwitz.
Right, that's right, yeah. Exactly. So he did a study on type A people, but he found that there is a differentiation between the type A's. There are those who are very loud, very enthusiastic, who's like a bull in a china shop. They do a lot of, bouncing off the wall type of stuff. But what he found is that it is the type A people who he would monitor and log their speech, the way they talk. And he found that the type A's who use these words like I, me, mine, very self-centered type of words and preoccupation. These are the people who are much more prone to heart attacks.
In danger, that's right.
So, if you talk to Bob, he will never use I or me or mine.
Really?
I'm just saying, I'm just saying. So, you can judge for himself, see whether
it is a bit true, actually. One Indian guy, once palm reader, an expert palm reader, he looked at my hand, and then he laughed. And I said, well, why are you laughing? And he said, any money ever put in this hand will immediately leave, he said. He said, you don't even have a money line at all. And he just cast my hand away contemptuously, and he went and looked for some wealthy person, and then said, here's something. Here, you have something. It's some Swiss lady. So you might be right,
But what has that got to do with, are you saying that the type A's do not care much for a certain type of type A's do not care much for? Yeah, that's right.
Well, he reanalyzed the type A data, is what it was, with a team at UCSF. It had originally been done in the Midwest. And what he found out were those two things, the frequency of the use of the first person, I, me, mine, and so on, especially the possessive. And that's a danger sign, right, in the longitudinal study. And the second one is that if you're very workaholic, but you love what you do, it's not dangerous. If you just do it for money or fame or status and you don't really like what you're doing, then it's very dangerous. And he said that the frequency of the heart attack is between 8:15 and 9:15 on Monday mornings. So we're safe for this week.
But next week is yet to come.
That's right. So His Holiness, that was in New York at the, Beth Israel hospital we organized, where he first met Larry Sherwitz, I think his name. And His Holiness was thrilled because that's the whole thing about the self-concern yoga, switching altruism for self-concern, getting rid of your self-concern and developing altruism, called the exchange of self, another famous Tibetan teaching, well, Indian and Tibetan Buddhist teaching. His Holiness loves. So he was very, very thrilled about that, absolutely. And I think he then met Larry again in some conference later, and they went over it again. Yeah, so it really is a wonderful thing. It gave me a lot of relief. Because, I was expecting to croak at any moment, otherwise, because I am, actually my wife doesn't say I'm a workaholic, she says I'm a Buddhaholic. which is more like it.
And it's this is one of the story that I think really impressed the Dalai Lama a lot, because one of his fundamental insight about the human condition is the fact that it's much better to always think about the welfare of other people than to be self-centered and think about your own welfare too much. So, and this is something that I think for him has a implication on the physical health.
Oh, sure.
That goes, beyond what we were talking about.
Absolutely. Well,
So, for example, I remember I was with him in India on pilgrimage to the place where Buddha was enlightened, and also where Buddha gave the first teaching.
Four Noble Truths.
And what's that place called?
Sarnath.
No, a Vulture's Peak.
Oh, yeah, where he taught the Prajnaparamita, yeah. Rajgir.
Right. Yeah,
Rajgir.
Rajgir. So I was with him, and then all of a sudden he developed a very intense pain in his stomach. And he was so pained that it was something that was totally alien from him, because he's generally in very good health, as Robert knows. Sometimes he gets a cold or a flu or something like this, but nothing really serious. So it was the most serious thing
Oh,
in
that
terms
time
of
they had to
health-wise
cancel the teaching.
for 30 years. So
Yeah.
it was really quite serious.
Yeah.
And then he was the motorcade was taking him to the hospital in a town called Patna. And so the sirens were screaming, and people were really worried. They wanted to rush him to the hospital as fast as possible. And then on the outskirts of Patna, he saw a little boy on crutches, I think probably about 6 years or so, in rags. One of these street kids that you see a lot in India. Obviously, no one was looking after him, and he has a lot of trouble getting food and so on. And then another old man who was in the same type of situation, living on the street. So the Dalai Lama's heart immediately went out to these two. And what he said afterwards was that his physical pain, which was so intense, immediately decreased. And what he was saying is that it was not simply a matter of him being distracted, because he saw these two,
Yes.
and he got distracted, and that's why he forgot the pain. What he said was that there was a physical abatement of this pain that has nothing to do with being distracted. And what he said to me was that because his heart went out to them in compassion, that he has empathy for what they were going through, it went into his mind, his brain, and then there was a direct correlation between that and his physiological system.
Wonderful.
So that the physiology, the pain, absolutely abated because of that.
That's wonderful.